comes down to finding a good consultant, somebody who you can trust.
Yep.
And at the same time is doing your due diligence. So anytime somebody comes to me and says, I think I'd like to start investing in some artwork, my first thing is well, what do you want to invest in? What kind of caliber of artwork? What kind of budget do you have?
Okay.
And then the real question is, why?
Okay.
Why would you want to spend a lot of money on artwork?
Hi guys, welcome back to Glow Talks with Jess. I am so thrilled here today to be filming in the new studio, Glow Talk Studio. For the first time, I've got Barry Broadway of Broadway Galleries with us.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine. We've been working together now for a few years.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to have you here on the show.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. It's, what you're doing here is phenomenal, introducing Great Falls and all the people to what's going on here in the area and all the wonderful people. It's fabulous.
Yeah, I love Great Falls, and so do you. So you've got a couple locations.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at the Alexandria, and then you've got a location here in Great Falls off Seneca.
That's correct. Yeah, we started, we opened the gallery in 1978. My mom opened it. And so there's a long story there, which is fabulous. Yeah. But we opened, she moved into a warehouse over in Alexandria. So we have a pretty large facility over there, showroom, production facility, storage areas for art and such.
Okay.
And then it was about 11 years ago, a friend of mine who owned a similar business to ours here in Great Falls, Turner Framing, called me up and said she wanted to sell her business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the timing was right, and we decided we'd work out a little deal together.
Yeah.
And it worked out good.
Yeah.
So she retired. We purchased her book of business, and we took over the studio here in Great Falls. And we've been riding that wave and having a great time the whole time, and meeting people like you and all the Great Falls people. It's just, it's just part of an ongoing
it's our community here,
ride, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. And I love being here. I mean, it is like a really nice hometown feel.
Yep.
And of course, that Seneca Shopping Center, we know the owners of Bricks over there very well. Oh, yeah. Have had a lot of fun times. So,
yeah. Well, that keeps that community thing going, right? I mean, it is a little community here in Great Falls. Whether you, to get involved with it, and the more you get involved with it, the more people you meet, and it's just it's a fabulous network.
Well, I'm just thrilled to actually be a part of it now with my studio and the Ernst Property Advisory and my space here. So I'm really just so thankful for you to be here today.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure.
So now, as a matter of fact, talking about the framing and your location here on Seneca, we found you originally because we had purchased art through a dealer in New York, and we were not happy with how the reflection of the glass on that artwork was just prohibiting actually even being able to see the art. Yeah. So I went back to them and I was like, hey, what can I do? I'm really feeling buyer's remorse. Yeah. I mean, and I don't have this type of reaction much, but lo and behold, we came in contact with you and you were able to put museum glass in the piece.
That's correct.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, in that particular instance, you had a beautiful piece that you had purchased, and it was a large piece behind glazing product, which I believe it was acrylic at the time. Yep. Because it was the size of it. And a lot of glazing products have a reflection to them. Yeah. Well, there's all kinds of different products out there. And the one that we came to choose was the museum acrylic because it cuts the glare almost, 99%.
It really was incredible, the difference.
Fabulous stuff, yeah. And it makes a huge difference when you have it on the wall and you're not seeing reflection and you can see the beauty of the art come through. So, we work with clients in that manner all the time. And then obviously we have the components of just doing the framing.
Oh, yeah. We did a bunch of pieces that we had framed of my father-in-law and his original art.
That's right. Yeah.
And it had such an impact to put the different frames and the color of the frames based on where we were setting it up into the house.
Well, that's the fun part of our side of it, right? Yeah. It's the collaboration. And whether it's with a residential client like yourself or a corporate space, we come in, we work with the client, figure out what they're looking at. And in your particular instance, your father-in-law was a very interesting guy and had a wonderful collection of artwork that sort of covered all kinds of spectrums, right? So abstract, a little more traditional, and a little transitional. So in your beautiful home, he had all these beautiful spaces, and it was natural to put pieces like that in place. Yep. And then finding the right little frame to enhance the piece, not take away from it. Look at the space, see how it interacts in the space. All those things are so important, right?
Yeah.
So
I was surprised even at some of the placements that like, I don't necessarily have an eye for that, but having you come in as the professional, like it seemed so easy and just flowing. Like you would come in, see the pieces I had and be like, okay, this would fit really nice here. This would fit really nice here. So I really appreciate your expertise on that.
Oh yeah. And, and that's all part of that collaboration part. What our goal is to come in and work with somebody, not come in and take over.
No.
So we want to come in, get your feel, look at your space, find out what would be good placements for pieces, and then either work with the client's own artwork, maybe even reframing it, installing it, just whatever needs they have, or finding new pieces too. So we have that full, complete art service company is what we call it. Yeah. So we have all in-house. We don't subcontract out, and we do installations, framing, art consultations.
Well, even for 3D art.
Oh, yeah.
Which I love. I've seen some of your installs and the photos.
We talked about MGM.
Yep.
Yeah. So we were very fortunate with that. I collaborated with another art individual consultant who brought us in to install these just absolutely gorgeous pieces at MGM casinos. Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh, my God.
Incredible.
Right? Just a huge project.
Yeah.
Encompassed probably at least 6 to 9 months of our time. And
it does take time.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And the pieces that they have are all large scale.
Yeah.
So moving things in, that was really a great experience for me to be able to be involved with such a world-class project like that.
Yeah.
And the artwork in itself, there's a Bob Dylan sculpture over there, which people don't know about. And, those kinds of things are just so much fun. And which,
Yeah, the 3D one that was on the wall with the different like media, with the strings and all of that, how it was.
Oh yeah, well that's actually a different project.
And the media, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's actually one I designed myself.
I love that.
Yeah, it was inspired by Gene Davis, who's a local artist from Washington who's passed away now, but he was part of the color school back in the 1960s, and he did these lines, color lines.
Yeah,
and that was sort of his thing.
Yeah.
So in seeing that, a client came to us and said, we have this big lobby and we want to put a piece in there. So what we did is we painted the walls with the different colors
in the background.
Yeah, and then we pulled color string out about 8 inches off the wall. So what it created is a dynamic.
Yeah,
a color
very
dynamic.
3D.
Yeah, really
well,
cool.
Let's talk about color, because I do feel that in my past of learning more about healing therapies and even meditations and other like visualization therapy, color is so important.
Yeah, it has a lot of meaning for people, and different colors bring on different emotions, right?
Yes.
So it's a matter of, people, when you get into your home and you start feeling that, it's interesting how a lot of the times you get into a person's home and the walls is the last thing anybody thinks about.
That's right.
But when it starts to come about and the art, you find artwork that people find it themselves, either way, how it adds. And then the smiles come and the good feelings and the vibes come, right?
Yeah.
That people just sort of like, gosh, it makes such a difference. Right?
Yeah.
So whether it's a color or a mood that you try to get from a piece of artwork, it can have huge effects on
that and the lighting. And angles as well, because we had a couple of pieces, like I'm sure you remember, that were like kind of 3D off of the canvas itself.
That's right.
And if you're walking one way, it had different colors on one side, and you're walking the other way, it had other colors on the other side.
Yeah, which is great with a piece of artwork, because it changes, and also you hit it on the head. The light also creates that mood too.
Yes.
So it can be moving past something, or just the change of daylight on a piece can change it dramatically.
Yeah.
And all that has to do with that therapy aspect of it.
I agree.
So that's probably the best part of my job, right? Is when you get into somebody's home or an office space and you do the project, and then as you get towards the end of it, people are going, gosh, what a difference. Right?
Yes, so transformed.
It transforms, yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes it your own.
Yeah.
Especially in somebody's home when they start putting up pieces that have meaning to them, bring back memories, just have a positive aspect. That's what it should bring, right?
Yeah.
When you put something in your home, it should all have a good feel to it.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Well, and I love the idea that like we can use different spaces, different colors, but it's still a process of collaboration and co-creating, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, for instance, where do you find art? Let's say for maybe one of my viewers who isn't necessarily like all up in the art world, like where do we start? Like, what are some simple ways that we can start adding some?
Well, it's interesting. I've been doing this my whole life. So, I've been at it for probably 40 years of my life focused on this exclusively, is just finding and making things look beautiful. Artwork is, I've met so many people over the years, so I have this network of artists that I can help people connect with.
Yeah.
But when we start talking, if I talk to a new client or talk to somebody who's looking, I think the most important thing is just visual content.
Okay.
Find it, whether it's in a magazine or whether you like going online and just pumping in artwork, or maybe be abstract art. It could be traditional art or landscapes.
So like a vision board.
A vision board.
Okay.
And that's the first step, I think.
Okay.
Go through it. And I always tell people is like, okay, if you see something you like, print it, tear it out of the magazine,
take a photo,
stick it in a file.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Start feeling out what you like.
Yeah.
Because I think ultimately it's that innate gut feeling that people have, that they sort of move in a direction, right?
Yeah.
And some people
they're attracted to certain things.
Yeah. And it could just be color abstract,
yeah,
right?
Sure.
And that can be something that really digs on somebody.
Yeah.
Or it could just be a beautiful landscape.
Okay, yeah.
Or it could be a photograph.
Okay.
It could be any of those kinds of things. I think one of the biggest things from my perspective is whenever you buy something for yourself, it should evoke some kind of memory or meaning for you. So, my wife and I, whenever we're out, it's like, hey, we're on vacation, right?
Yeah.
Let's buy a piece of art.
Right.
Because then it takes you back there.
Rudy and I did that.
Yeah, right. So,
and some of it was expensive. Some of it was not. Like, we talked about that, right? Like, what is your goal as a purchaser of art? Are you looking for adding to, let's say, like as an investment, or you're looking at it more from a creative aspect and just enhancing your home in general?
Yeah, when we talked about it, it's interesting, right? It's a component of art, and I think it's one of the things sometimes people fear about artwork.
Yeah,
they feel like, oh, if it's not $1,000 or $10,000, I can't have it on the wall.
Right.
And quite honestly, it's not that at all. It has to do with what appeals to you.
Yeah.
But when you start thinking in terms of investment quality art, it all comes down to your comfort level.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
If you have the money to spend and you want to risk some of it, and just like it would be in the stock market, right?
Sure.
What it comes down to is finding a good consultant, somebody who you can trust.
Yep.
And at the same time is doing your due diligence.
Okay.
Right? So anytime somebody comes to me and says, I think I'd like to start investing in some artwork, my first thing is, well, what do you want to invest in? What kind of caliber of artwork? What kind of budget do you have?
Okay.
And then the real question is, why?
Okay.
Why would you want to spend a lot of money on artwork? Because, you can make a lot of money in the art market.
Of like buying and selling.
Buying and selling, or buying and holding on.
Okay.
For long term, typically. It's not something that's going to happen overnight.
Right.
If you get lucky, or if you do your due diligence and really start investing your time in it, just like anything, you get a return from it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's not really where I try to push or try to guide people.
Right.
I love for them to be more emotionally attached to art.
Okay.
But that could be a poster, right?
Yeah.
It could be a Picasso poster. It could be a Matisse poster.
Print.
Yeah, just something that that you might have grown up in, and you might have been in college and seen something on the wall. And say, that takes me back to college. I got to have one of those. And you put it you could do a nice arrangement in a bar in your home that would just have that kind of like content in it.
Yeah,
that would be just those memory things that sort of take you back.
Have a story. Behind it.
And then when you're sitting at the bar with your buddies and your girls and hanging out. That takes me back to college, that one. Oh, that one takes me back. Yeah, exactly. You're right.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, right? Yeah. Good memories for people.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Well, and we had such success with like the framing and finding the art that was more meaningful to us. So I was always very thankful for your help and your service there.
Well,
and moving some of the art around, because we've had to move, as you know. That was really essential for us to know that it was like properly cared for when it was being moved.
Yeah.
And some of it is like a delicate, delicate
well, that big stone piece you had, the amethyst stone.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely gorgeous, right? And, and the way you have it displayed in your home now, it's just part of the artistic of the home, and it evokes that feeling and that memory for you.
Yeah. But we also want to be careful, right, when we're moving some of the stuff around. We're trying to relocate.
Well, that's a big component of our business, and that's why we sort of call it a complete art service company, because we do a lot of moves, not only for individuals, but we also do a lot of moves for big clients. We just moved Boeing
Okay.
their headquarters from Chicago to Arlington.
Oh, wow.
So we went to Chicago, looked through their inventory, the collaboration again. Yep. It's never, I don't like the fact of like going in and telling.
Yeah.
It's more like going in and listening.
Yeah.
What do you have? What's your vision? Why are you moving from Chicago to Arlington? What do you want to move, et cetera? And then working with that, right?
Yeah.
So that component is so much a part of our business because it leads to all aspects, right?
Yeah.
From the installation side, the framing side, the art new purchase side, but more so the collaboration and getting out of the vision of what the client wants. Yeah. So that when they're done, there's that feel good again, right?
It's like transformed again.
It is.
Like all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're a good example, right? With the move you had.
Yeah.
You know, you took all these beautiful pieces from your older home, moved them into the newer home.
Yep.
But and you took the pieces that you loved, the pieces that evoked the most feeling for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
that's so important.
It was a beautiful collaboration.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I love that, like, not only are you doing these commercial areas and commercial work and looking more at the big, bigger jobs, but also like your connections and your work here locally in the community and with local artists.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
that's
we're
a huge part of it.
We'll have some events.
We've got exciting things. Exciting things.
Stay tuned.
We're going to get some of our artists maybe to come in here and do some events, and you can do some things here in your studios by inviting people in, and vice versa.
Teaching, educating, and for anyone who's interested. Stay tuned. So
it's going to be fun.
We'll have a lot more to come now that we've got the space to use.
Oh yeah.
So, but the local artists, I think, and just doing some of these local events and promoting our community, like those are so important.
And it's amazing what's in your backyard.
Right.
People don't realize it.
Yeah.
There's artists within a stone's throw here who are nationally recognized.
Yeah.
It doesn't. When I say that, doesn't mean their price points in the tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
But they just have a component to their work that's just really
remarkable,
and seen by others as somebody who is just really at the top of their game. So they're right around the corner, and it's just if people are interested and they want to find that, it's just a matter of
it's here.
Looking.
Yeah, exactly. It's here.
Right, and here behind you too.
I know we'll be bringing more. We'll be bringing more to you guys here soon.
Yeah, so exciting.
So Barry, let's touch a little bit on if someone were like first time home buyer. And I know we talked a little bit about we don't think about the walls of the home. We're looking at furniture. We're looking at functionality, of course.
That's true.
But let's go back. So we've got get a file together with just pieces that you like, understanding what kind of art that you really love and that you connect with.
Right.
Maybe not so much looking at perhaps not having a huge budget. We could look at maybe one or two pieces or their key highlight areas that you would put a big piece, or like, how would you go about it? Like one room at a time, one floor at a time, like.
Yeah, I think it's every individual is different, right?
Okay.
So when somebody comes to us, and somebody might walk in the showroom and say, "Oh, we're just in browsing." Well, in the retail business, when somebody comes in browsing, they typically are looking for something, right? And they want something. So it's a matter of just sort of tying in with that and introducing them to the different styles, because a lot of people just, as we touched on earlier, it's just they don't really know.
Yeah.
They don't know what they like, but they really do know what they like. But they're looking for somebody to give them that confidence.
Okay, got it.
Hey, we just moved into a beautiful home. We've got, we really got all of our furniture in place. We need something over our sofa. We need something in our foyer.
Yeah.
Where can we put things?
Yeah.
So when somebody comes in like that, it's a matter of like introducing them, because that's what we do. We don't just push anybody in one particular direction. We might show them a poster catalog.
Okay.
Where you can take a nice poster and that might cost $40-$50
and just frame it.
And frame it really nice. So you might be able to walk out the door at $400 or $500 with a really nicely framed piece.
Yeah.
But it's giving you what you're appealed to.
Yeah, without breaking your bank.
Without breaking your bank.
Well, and probably you can upgrade as you go, right?
That's right, by all means. And then you can sort of, it gives you a sense of where you go. You can go into the print market. You can go into, they have so much out there in the medium market now. G clays, which are reproductions on canvas, and digital prints and so on and so forth. And then obviously you have the original types of work where, that's typically what we try to show in the gallery.
Okay.
That's the direction we've moved in.
Okay.
And, over the 50 odd years we've been in business, that the industry and has been so dynamic, the
Yeah.
change, right?
Yeah.
So it's gone from a huge print market from the 90s when everybody was buying prints and framing up prints and spending a lot of money on that,
Yeah.
to now where that sense has gone more towards original work. And
Okay.
the reason for that, I think, more so than anything, is because of the internet.
Okay.
There's access to it.
Right.
In the 90s, an artist really didn't have access to this mass market
Yeah.
unless they went to a gallery.
True.
So,
Ooh.
that's where in the 90s, there were probably, I'd say, 100 galleries in Northern Virginia. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I bet you there's maybe 20,
Okay.
if that.
I see.
Very,
The
very
industry
limited
has
now.
really changed.
Really changed. And that's because, people can do their shopping from their computer now, right?
Yeah.
They can go on there. But, again,
It's good to have a guide though, because sometimes
can be.
right, it could be like, who knows what you're really getting.
well, we get stuff in sometimes where somebody comes into us and says, I just got this in the mail. The glass is shattered. It's all over. Can you fix it for us? And then they paid minimal amounts on
Right.
some things. And that's where they come in. They're not packaged properly.
Yeah.
They're not framed properly.
Okay.
And,
But you can help with all of that.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can guide too. I mean, it's not always a matter of us making a sale as much as it is just educating people too.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I was
So-
going to ask actually, kind of last point in question
Yeah.
is I know that art also requires maintenance and
It does.
cleaning,
Yeah.
which I had no idea. But what does that process look like? Like, what can we expect finding, let's say, one of these 3D items like I have?
Mm-hmm.
The cleaning process, like finding a true professional to
Yep.
handle it.
Well, one of the things we do also is a restoration. So
Okay.
restoration goes into the art of actually fixing something that's broken.
Okay.
But to answer your question more so to the point is, if you have a glazing product on something, it's a dust cloth. It's
Okay.
just cleaning it regularly.
Okay.
Keep the dust off of it,
Yep.
right? Because the dust and the dirt isn't getting on the artwork because
Yeah.
it's being protected by acrylic, glass,
Okay.
and a frame,
Right.
or a combination of that. Now, when you get to the 3D stuff, the original paintings
Yeah.
and things like that, it's very important to clean them a couple
Yeah.
times a year.
Okay.
Depending on the value and how delicate you have a piece of
The
artwork.
material.
Yep, you can either use a little blower and blow dust off.
Okay.
You can dust it with a rag, depending on all the different circumstances.
Material like that.
Or you can use a light vacuum cleaner and suck dirt off.
Okay.
Like textiles, for instance, like a quilt. Like
Yeah.
my grandmother did quilting my sister and I have just lots of quilts that my grandmother made for us. They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I have a quilt rod that I hang quilts on my wall.
Okay.
Big,
Oh, right.
big.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't clean that a couple times a year, it's going to get that dust on it.
Yeah.
And as everybody knows, once dust settles,
Yeah.
it's really tough to get off.
No, it is.
So yeah, you have to keep an eye on things, clean them regularly.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take a lot of effort, just a normal cleaning process.
Yeah. But just, I think, like, we forget, right? We forget.
Oh, we all
to
forget, don't
do
we?
that.
I forget more and more these days.
Me too.
But yeah, we forget, and it's a good process to think in terms of. We do get quite a bit of people coming in who have old paintings that the varnish has changed on them, and that needs to be revarnished. We have a gentleman that works for us who's top notch,
Okay.
trained in the old European master's ways, and he's phenomenal. And he'll come in, he'll assess a piece, determine what needs to be done to it,
Yeah.
and then he does a restoration on it. In many instances, if a canvas gets a hole in it, or it gets a rip or a scratch on it,
Okay, yeah.
if a frame gets a big chunk chipped out of it, stuff like that. Those are all things that we can advise on. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy to have you here with us.
Oh,
I hope you guys enjoyed our content today during our podcast. And please keep an eye out because we've got some really fun stuff coming your way.
2025.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, we're going to get
almost at
something
the end of the
hopefully
year.
regularly set up so we can have some events on
Yep.
a regular basis. Yeah.
Yep,
I love that
absolutely.
idea.
Absolutely.
Love it. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Barry, for being here.
Oh, thank
We
you.
will see you all very soon. Now, Barry, can you tell our viewers how can they find you online?
Yeah. We are at www.broadwaygalleries.net.
Okay.
And we're out here in Great Falls and in Alexandria.
Okay.
And all kinds of fun things coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Just
it.
take a peek at our website.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much again for joining us here in the new Glow Talk studio. You can find me on Apple Podcast, on YouTube, and Spotify. And thank you, Barry, again for being here with us.
Thank you, Jess.
We enjoyed this so much, and we will see you guys again soon in the next one. Ciao.